He'll snitch. That's a club. And Bahari not just for government, he's the president.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Salatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, before we conclude tonight, alhamdulillah, we ask the Lord to accept our good deeds and forgive us of our bad deeds, and to make that which we have learned and heard and spoke on and talked about and discussed and proof in an argument for us and not a proof in an argument against us. Allahumma ameen. If there are any questions tonight from the brothers or the sisters or the brothers, we'll try to entertain them now. Wallahu a'lam.
What is your response if someone would say that whether it was life, family, parents, grandparents, for yourself, where, to be thankful, there has to be a level of kindness and softness in it, right? Where either those things mentioned in the beginning have beat the kindness out of you. You are either by nature, your parents are your grandparents, harsh, strident person. You know what I mean? Where you didn't see that act of kindness growing up. Therefore, even if you got think about, be kind, that's not an innate nature. It's like talking about a unicorn.
Clear, something that's way out of grasp. Well, I think, and Allah knows best, my take on this question is that when you become an adult, you are at a fork in the road with regards to your past, your upbringing, your parents, your uncles, your older brothers, whatever the case may be. And you guys, inshallah, you can tell me if you agree or disagree with this. You can either become what you hated and ran from, the evil and the badness that you saw, that you went through, and that's scary in itself. You become that. Your father was abusive to your mom, it broke your heart, you was crying, scared, you stood up to your father one night, shut up, mind your business, he smacked you across the room, busted your face. And then you grow up and you be abusive to your wife. Or you have the option of running from that and working extremely hard not to be the monster that your father was. In the discussion, you got to make that choice. You have to make that choice. They asked a famous celebrity once, he's famous celebrity, I'm not going to mention his name, real famous, he had a daughter. And they said, he did everything with his daughter, he was open, public, flagrant, his daughter, loving his daughter, supporting his daughter, taking care of his daughter. Whenever he got an award, whatever, he always had his daughter with him. So they asked him in the interview, why are you you're such an amazing father, what's the secret, what's da-da-da. He said, I'm like this because I didn't know my father. So that's why I'm going hard in the other direction. So you have to make that choice. And that's one of the different issues, if you ask me, with regards to psychology and therapy and trauma. A part of it is true and valid, but a part of it is nonsense. You can't keep blaming the past for your actions today. You're a grown man. You got enough common sense to know right from wrong. End the discussion. You grew up in an abusive household, you're scarred, you're traumatized, but you're a grown man now or a little boy. You know that it's wrong to put your hands and beat up this woman. You don't need no strength to tell you that. End the discussion. So, kindness is from the Deen, Quran, Sunnah. Kindness makes sense, like we just explained. You, as a grown-up, you have to make the decision. You're responsible for your own actions. And we don't want to hear the past, this happened. All right, until when are we going to keep wallowing in that mud pit? And the same applies to people, race, community. All right, what are we doing right now? We get it. This happened, these oppressors, but what about right now? What are we doing right now? Do you not have enough common sense to take a shower? You have enough common sense to know that you're going to stink and smell if you sweat, if you don't put on deodorant, if you don't wash up, if you don't use soap? You don't need no psychologist to tell you that, right? Your scalp is going to be itchy if you don't use shampoo, right? You know this. And the same applies to beating up your wife, selling drugs, doing the evil stuff that you grew up seeing. And that to me, that's an excuse. It's the only life I know. This is what I saw, but you're grown now. You have a brain. You can choose if you really want to. Wallahu alam.
Seeking knowledge is difficult. Memorizing is more difficult than seeking. acting upon it.
Is the cup empty or?
I'm asking you.
It don't look empty, right? It don't sound empty.
The question is, what advice can you give to those who find it like that, so to help them move forward?
What advice do I give to those who find the different levels and stages in seeking knowledge difficult or challenging? Well, first and foremost, you don't have to be by yourself. You don't have to do it alone, right? There is a support system. And the greatest support is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the student of knowledge has to make an abundance of dua. If something is big and difficult and burdensome, a mountain in front, ask Allah to give you the courage, to give you the strength. So that's first and foremost dua. That's the foundation of all good. Asking Allah, who knows everything, who is the most powerful, the most merciful, the kindest. You ask him, Allah, give me some of the knowledge that you've given to this prophet and that prophet. Oh Allah, give me the strength. Why can that? So you have to make a lot of dua. Number two, you have to have perseverance. You can't get in a race and quit and drop out. There is a great scholar of grammar, an imam of grammar, who's known as Al-Kisai. So he's a famous grammarian. Iconic name. And some people mention that when he was in his early days, before he was a big shot, living legend or whatever, when he was in his early days, he felt certain things difficult and troubling concerning the grammar and, so on and so forth. And he was about to quit, he was about to give up. But one day he was sitting down, frustrated, and he saw an insect. And the insect that he saw was an ant. And the ant was trying to climb a wall with a piece of bread or something, 2-3 times the size. Ants are very strong, intelligent insects. So the ant walked up the wall halfway, fell down. Walked up the wall halfway, it was too heavy, fell down. This poor ant, this dumb ant doesn't get the point, it's too heavy. But eventually, as he sat there, the ant made it past the halfway point of the wall, and he made it to where he was going. And he went back into, and he became what he became. So you have to persevere. You can't quit, you can't give up. Keep trying. And I can tell you, me personally, the different things when I started studying this and that I keep at it. Stick to it. Gotta stick to it. Gotta stick to it. Can't quit. And the same process of memorizing, you gotta do it every day. You gotta work out and stretch that muscle every day. And you have to tell yourself you're going to memorize it. You have to force yourself to do it. And just stick to it. And bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, with your sincerity, with your dua, with your perseverance, Allah will then open up doors for you. And then you'll start memorizing stuff that you never thought even possible. But if you quit and if you give up, if you don't have the perseverance, if you think you can do it all by yourself, then you're going to lose. Thirdly, with regards to the support system, you're supposed to have the brothers around you. It's supposed to be an infection. Bacteria going back and forth. The memorization, the diligence to seek knowledge. If it's a class today, you didn't memorize your hadith, you're supposed to feel ashamed and embarrassed. I'm a little stressed out today. I'm battling this sin, blah, blah, blah. My wife got on my nerves, this, and that, with my kids, whatever. That didn't allow you to sit down and memorize the hadith. But when you walk in the masjid, and you see the teacher, and you see the brothers, and you don't have your hadith, you're going to feel extremely embarrassed. So you feeling embarrassed and shamed, that's supposed to do what? So that's the only reason why I'm memorizing my hadith today. If it was up to me, if it was about my amen today, I wouldn't have sat down and memorized hadith. If it was about me sleeping and migraine, headache, blah, 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 I wouldn't have memorized hadith. But I know I got to see his face. So that energy, it forces you, it pushes you. Let alone your brother may have a technique that you don't have. So you don't have to do it by yourself, but the shaitan gets you to think that you're all alone and you're by yourself. So these are just 3 points. Allah Ta'ala, we have courses on this. How to memorize. We have courses on this. Structured classes on the lost art of memorization. Allahu Akbar. Khair, inshallah. Nobody else? No sisters? Wahida? Khalas? They have nothing else? Question line is coming from Initials OL from London, UK. You spoke about the hadith about Ali and how these Shiites, their deeds won't reach the heavens. What about the average layman yet practicing Shiite? Are their prayers ascended, you think? Jazakallah khairan, as we mentioned the narration from Sufyan, not the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's first and foremost to be exact. For argument's sake, if it was a hadith or that statement of Sufyan is sound, so on and so forth, what about the layman people? Them being punished, held responsible, going to the hellfire for this kufr or misguidance, so on and so forth, that's one argument to be had. But if they're upon that type of batil, if that statement was absolute, then, hey, that's the danger of it. Layman, scholar, matters not. For argument's sake, the layman isn't responsible because he's blindly following the scholar. For argument's sake. Alright, so the layman's not going to be punished, but it doesn't mean he's going to be rewarded for that falsehood. So there's a difference between the two. There's a big difference between the two. Allah punishing someone who's ignorant, who doesn't know, versus Allah accepting the deeds and rewarding them for something that they're doing totally wrong and incorrectly. They're two different worlds. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Khair inshallah. Barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.